Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another ATS News live stream. This is our deep dive sessions into the Chris Watts case. This, I think, is episode 25. I don't know. We've been doing deep dives almost weekly into the case because you guys have requested it. We have a Facebook group that just hit 56,000 members, and everybody wants to keep talking about this case. So here we are. We're ready to dig into another aspect of this case. And hello, everybody. Please let me know, moderators, if you can hear me. Hi, Brody and Bella. Jay is here. Thank you so much for being here, Jay. And thank you for being a member for 6 months. Good. I'm glad, grateful. I'm glad you look forward to this. I know you guys love discussing this, and I love discussing this too. Hello from Northern Ireland. Hello, Thunder Chick. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hi, Tony. Hi, Pointer Lover. Adrian's here. Adrian has just been made a moderator as well in our Facebook group. So thank you so much, Adrian. Caroline is here. Angie. All right. So tonight's topic will just be covering, hi, Marshall Dove. We'll just be covering, thanks for becoming a member again, Caroline. Appreciate you. Hey, Tanya. All right. So we're going to be digging into the events that took place in the early morning while Chris is at work, before Nicole Atkinson kind of sounds the alarms and calls the cops. So we're just going to look through some discovery stuff. We'll be looking through some text messages from Nicole Atkinson to Shanann, which obviously were never responded back to. And then just kind of go through the case and from that perspective. So that's what we'll be looking at today. I did want to share the new Chris Watts photo from the prison. This came out with a public records request sent to me by somebody who requests them. So thank you so much, Shmita, for doing that and sending this to me. This is just his updated photo. A lot of different comments on this post on my community page and in my Facebook group. Just to read a few, people are like, what is he smiling about? He has no remorse. He clearly seems comfortable in prison. Stuff that we've kind of assumed anyways. He's got his own schedule. He's got a job there. I think that he's very content. He's got a cellmate, and they both have some sort of bulletin board or cork board that they have in their cell where they pin letters from women and photos that women send them. This is all told to me from an inside source. Somebody said, what the F is he so happy about? He's trying to impress his fangirls. He makes me sick, smiling like he's proud of himself. He is sickening. He looks very content and comfortable. Somebody said he got saved, so I guess he's able to live contently. Not surprising for someone who couldn't even take himself out after what he did. Most people couldn't live with themselves. Son of Sam vibes. So going back to, him being saved and born again, let's revisit another post on my community page that was a few weeks ago. Bear with me. Remember when we talked about him apparently co-authoring a devotional book with his old cellmate, Dylan. Of course, I can't scroll back that far, but I think you guys know what I was talking about. Hold on. I'll show you from my phone. Do you guys remember this? Remember, and we talked about it? New plan, 20-day devotional. Then let's see, I have a picture of the back of the book somewhere. Bear with me. Well, apparently the Dylan has republished the book and taken Chris Watts off of it. So I don't know if that was requested by Chris himself. Maybe the family, Chris's family, had a problem with it. Of course, now I can't find the photo. Hold on, I got it in my group. Remember this, guys? This is the back of the book, pictures of both of them. I did a video with Zawoki talking about this, and we discussed how they picked this photo of Chris for the back of the book. Now, this photo was a photo that he had with Shanann on one of their Thrive trips. And Dylan or whoever picked this photo blacked out the background and cropped out Shanann and put Chris on there. It says 40 days devoted to the wilderness were used wisely by the authors plural. Gracefully from the manacles of imprisonment, Dylan Tellman and Chris Watts freely gave their spiritual insight through the walls and into the readers' hearts. So then I seen through a Facebook page, somebody posted the book and it said with the caption, "New and improved." And then this is the new cover. God's Plan, Poetic Knowledge, Dylan Tellman. And I commented and I said, wait, is it the same book, but Watts was taken off of it? And they said, different books. Dylan is more than capable of standing alone as an author. His work has always amazed me in many ways. And then somebody else wrote, yeah, it's the new and improved version, laughing my ass off. I don't know why that monster is no longer an author of the book, but my guess would be it was published without Chris's consent, and maybe some legal stuff is what got him removed from it. Again, I don't know. That's just my guess. So we're kind of left to speculate. I'm hearing it's the same book from those who have kind of like looked into it further, but Chris has been taken off of it. So that's the latest from all that. And this photo, obviously, I seen somebody commented 5'10". I thought he was much taller. He's not. He's very average. Not short, but not. For some reason, people think he's taller than he is. So let's get into what we're here to kind of go through. Again, if you guys haven't hit that like button, please do so. It's greatly appreciated. I'm going to check with you guys in chat before we get into reading this because it's straight from the discovery files and there's going to be some reading required. So I'm going to check in with you guys before I tap out and just focus on reading. So Melly and Melanie are here. Lame, Staley, Natasha is here. Thanks for joining, guys. Nell is here. Jennifer, Melly. Oh, I already said Melly. You get 2 hellos, Melly. The House Huddle probably took him off because he cannot gain any money due to the civil suit, right? Everything he is owed to Shanann's family. They settled. Not only did he get charged criminally for his crimes, but they took him to civil court for a wrongful death lawsuit. And they obviously won in that case as well. I really wish they would have charged or had the mistress get looked into that civil suit. And honestly, the Watts family could do that. They could take her to civil court and try and get her civilly. As far as being linked to things, I think there's enough to kind of dig into and connect her. Hi, Sherry. Wendy, thank you for becoming a member. Margie, thank you so much for being here. Keep your deep dives coming. All right, I'll keep them coming. There's a lot to look through. And thank you so much for the super chat and for your support always. He's giving toxic bliss like Ed Kemper in his audiobook gig. Yeah, isn't it funny how they like find themselves like hobbies and different identities once they've committed the most atrocious crimes. Deco Painter and Tea, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Hi, Bubba. I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing other people. Did I miss anything before we get started? Want to make sure I got everything. Sherry, thank you so much for the super sticker. Milena is here from Sweden. Thank you. Thank you so much. Keenly is here, cleaning but listening. Cool. Yeah, she did lie a lot. Hi, Seth. I see Seth is here. All right, guys. Like I said, we're going to be covering information specific to the morning of. We know, and you guys have seen it in other live streams, that Shanann gets dropped off by Nicole Atkinson, and she walks through her front door with her phone and her suitcase in hand. Don't need to play the video. We've seen it a million times. And that is the last time that we see Shanann alive on camera. And then here we can see right in the discovery files, August 13th, 2018, Shanann's phone connected to the Wi-Fi provided by Southwest Airlines. So this is before she gets home. She's being dropped off. Shanann told Cassie they had landed. This is the last outgoing communication found on Shanann's phone. So this goes back to my theory, other people's theories, that we really believe something took place pretty quickly as soon as she walks through that door. The reason why I think that is because she's somebody who always had her phone on her. There was a group chat with her friends. Even Nicole Atkinson, like texted, you can see here in the group chat, she texted, "We are home." That is after she dropped off Shanann. So, they were still active in their little group chats while it's nighttime, very early morning hours. 1:48 is when she gets dropped off. But yeah, when she enters the home, right here, it says, Watts' phone logged the Vivint alert of Shanann's entry into their home. At that same moment, the Vivint video monitored captured Shanann as she walked up to the home and entered. Nicole Atkinson was captured backing out of the driveway. Between 1:48 and 4:23 hours, there was no movement detected on the main floor of the home level. And those are strictly referring to the Vivint alerts. So the Vivint alerts were only in specific doors. And so it wasn't every single room. So we have to keep that in mind. So if somebody was walking down the stairs, a Vivint alert wouldn't have gone off. But if somebody opened the basement door, left it open, garage door, left it open, then yes, there would be something that would be logged. And we see that, but not during those hours. So like I said, Nicole Atkinson texted the group, told Cassie, "We are home." Shanann's phone activity is otherwise dormant until 7:40 hours when Chris Watts sent the device a staged message pretending to not know where she was at. So again, another reason why I believe something quickly kind of happened to Shanann is she's wearing her blue lacy thong underwear and her black underwire bra when she's found in the grave. She does have like a pajama type shirt on, like sort of like the one I'm wearing from like Victoria's Secret, pink, just something comfy and cotton. She was found wearing that and just her underwear and bra. So there's just a lot of, and still makeup on. There's a lot of speculation that, maybe she was getting changed and she was bombarded. I mean, she just never picked up her phone after being in that house, which is unusual for somebody like Shanann or for anyone. I mean, it would even show if you picked up your phone and you were searching the internet, right? So none of that occurred for her. Being Bio Girl, good to see you. And thanks for being a member for 3 months. Love being here with you, Amber, and the family. Yes, I love you guys. We all come together usually every Thursday. Haven't seen Florida bass fishing. Thank you, Melina, or Melina, jeez. Melanie, thank you so much for being a member for 7 months. I appreciate you very much. Another thing I don't understand, Brody says, is how involved NK was with him and his wife's personal life, things a mistress or even anybody should ever know, or what to know. It's psycho vibes all day. Right. Remember when she was like telling the agent that she asked Chris, do you have a 401k? Like, what? Such a strange, amount of questions to be kind of asking when you just kind of meet somebody. Just very strange. Yeah, lots of memberships and anniversaries today. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for being here. And sorry, Melanie. Where's Roxanne too? That just reminded me. We haven't seen Roxanne or Florida Bass Fishing. Both people are always asking me when I'm going live. Here I am. All right. So personally, yes, exactly, Denise. She either was changing or somebody changed her. It's hard to know. When you get home, she was 15 weeks pregnant. I'm assuming she probably went to the bathroom right away. You got to empty your bladder. Believe her bladder was empty at the autopsy. Her stomach was as well. So it's not like she came home, grabbed a snack or anything like that, So whatever took place, much like Chris tries to portray, I think is a huge lie. He tries to say things like, she crawled in bed next to me, we had sex, and then I woke up in the morning and told her we needed to talk. Like, I don't think any of that took place. Don't think that they had sex. Don't think that Shanann even went to bed. I think that something happened right away. I think also the fact that her flight was delayed. Remember, she was supposed to be home earlier. And Chris is on that 111 phone call with the NK that both of them can't remember what's being said. And House Huddle says, I believe she was in the shower. There was a Thrive patch like stuck in the shower too, wasn't there? So lots of different theories on what exactly she did as soon as she got home. Some people think she would have gone to check on her kids right away. Personally, I think that she could have just pulled up her phone and checked her baby monitor that way. Like, she wouldn't have really needed to walk in the kids' rooms and like see them. That could risk waking them, or, she just might have just been like, I just want to get dressed, get out of these clothes, go to the bathroom. Hi, Scottish Queen. Good to see you. So let me know if I'm wrong, but I've been pregnant. I wore granny panties at night. Right. That's the other thing. And somebody, we've had that conversation a lot of times, that why she was wearing the underwire bra to bed, like Chris claims, and that lacy thong underwear. Some people, there's mixed reviews. Some people say, well, she had a bigger chest. Sometimes, underwire bras are better for that. Sometimes when you're pregnant, your nipples are very sensitive. So wearing a bra to bed doesn't bother some people. So it really is all over the place. Like, when it comes to, would she have really gone to bed in that underwear and bra? Like Chris claims. I just don't believe it personally. Alicia, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm terrible with names tonight. Sorry, guys. Yes, I think it was another cheetah print Thrive patch on a shower wall. Yes, stuck to the wall. So was she in the middle of, getting ready to hop in? The thing that confuses me is the different shirt from when she walks in the door and when she's found. So if she was going to get in the shower, did they put that other shirt on her? And what would be the point in putting that other shirt on her? Like, why not just take her as is? Basement seems most suspicious, Jaded says. I agree. And the other thing too is who sleeps with a brawn, right? And that's been mixed reviews from people. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Shower first, went home, yet her makeup was still on. It's very strange. Do you know if Shanann was still wearing a Thrive patch when she was found? It's not mentioned in her list of stuff found on her. So they even list her nose ring, which, sometimes I take off my nose ring at night. So that's another thing that's kind of like, did she make it to bed? Or does she just wear that stud to bed and she doesn't take it off? Because some people don't. Hi, Brooks. Good to see you. It's very confusing. And hello, Karen and Aries. All right, guys, if I don't say hi to you, I'm just trying to get through this stuff. So thank you all for being here. All right. Where are we at? Still early morning hours. The home's router logged an unspecific activity in Watts' phone. Watts left the home with the bodies of his family piled in the backseat of the truck. So that is said to have happened at 5:48. Now, here's the thing. This discovery came out, and it is the district attorney's theory. We have to keep that in mind. Some people think, oh, it's the truth. It's the Bible. It's the discovery. Like, no. No matter what case goes to trial or what case gets written up, the defense and the prosecution is going to have their own theory. This is just a theory. Now, why I emphasize that is because when this was written, that's the theory that the district attorney was going with. And then remember, people started noticing, like, wait a minute, in Nate's footage, I see a little shadow. It looks like they walk up to Chris. Oh my God, Chris bends down and picks up something. It's a kid. They were alive. And then the district attorney comes on and says, oops. Yeah. It seems like the kids were alive. Yeah, we're going to go to the prison and talk to him and get the truth, quote unquote. So they go to the prison in February 2019, which is where that 2019 photo is from in the thumbnail. And they say, okay, so the kid's left alive. And Chris says, yeah, I thought you would have seen it in Nate's footage. And they're like, no, we didn't know what happened. So then he comes out with this whole other theory. So I just want to say this right here, how it says Watts left the home with bodies of his family piled in the backseat of his truck. That actually the district attorney came out and said, like, no, actually, we realized that didn't happen. So can you believe everything that the district attorney has kind of said in the early stages of this case? Like, I don't, because we've already seen him kind of go back on his theory anyways. New information came out. There was new digging. The investigation was never done. And CBI came out saying that, like, whoa, we never processed everything. We didn't do all the interviews we needed to do. So keep that in mind. Just because we're reading this doesn't actually mean that this is what happened. All right. So around 6:30, Watts made 3 unanswered calls to Roberts. So that's Cody Roberts, his coworker. Watts sent a message to Roberts asking, where are you? Or where are you at? Roberts replied, just got fuel in Kersey. Watts made an unanswered call to Roberts. So here's the thing too, which is something that Florida Bass Fishing has really always emphasized in his theory, and I believe so in mine as well, that he is on his phone. You'll see also he pulls up his work laptop, and not only is he texting on his phone, but he's calling people. So it's one of those things where it's like, so wait a minute, I thought that he was disposing of his family at this point. I thought that he was killing the girls at this point. How is he finding time to call all his coworkers, text his coworkers, pull up his laptop, his work laptop, do stuff on there, driving around because you'll see his work truck, moves from locations. How is he doing all that while also digging the shallow grave to dispose of them? So this would be something that if it went to trial would really need to be laid out to a jury of the timeline. Would he have had enough time to do all that? Remember, not only is that needing to take place, but yeah, there's a huge digital footprint of everything he was doing that morning. And yet we're supposed to believe he's burying Shanann, killing the girls, putting the girls in the tank. And not only that, but he's disposing of items at Survey. And what I mean by that is, the sheet that was found out there, the plastic bags that were found out there, everything is scattered all around. So it's not like he just threw things up in the air and then ran. Like, he had to walk far. And to top it all off, he is changing his clothing. He leaves the house in a black outfit, black shirt. His coworker, Troy McCoy, says when he saw him, he was wearing a blue shirt. By the time he's home and on camera, when the cops are there, he's in a gray shirt. So, he's changing all these times, and his boots get changed numerous times as well. So is it impossible? I don't know. I just think the timeline of everything happening that morning, it's a little tight in my opinion. Dustin says, I feel the hole was pre-dug. A lot of people think that. I think it's possible. Right. And why did he change? That I don't understand. And if it was pre-dug, when was he out there digging it? When he was with NK on their last date? And that's so hard to kind of lay out too, because if we had the CCTV footage of them at the Lazy Dog, we could time that night. Okay, he's on camera with her from this time to this time. They're at her house from this time to this time. They're intimate that night, remember? Then he's on camera at the gas station. Yay, Roxanne is here. Yeah, that makes no sense to change like that. I never understood it. Never understood it. All right. Watts responded with 2 messages to Roberts. Okay, I'm at Survey. Where are you going first? Roberts answered, DPC State, and Watts replied with a thumbs up emoji. Roberts advised, I need to call Chad and see if he plans on stroking the 1029 out there to see if it'll pump up. So if so, I'll have to meet him, or he will have to get the Canon plugs from Tony, okay? Watts responded, okay, let me know before you leave there. So that's still 6:35 in the morning. Roberts added, I think he, Chad, might be heading out there today. Phone was breaking up pretty bad. Likely fearing another employee may show up at 3:19 while he was disposing of the bodies, Watts made an unanswered call to Chad McNeil. Watts followed that call with a message asking McNeil, you headed out to Survey? I'm out here. Cody said something about pumping the 1029. McNeil replied, well, since you're out there, you want to fire it up? Have Cody bring his cables. Watts agreed, okay, I will. McNeil advised, I'll head that way in a bit. So here you can see that they add in their little likely fearing another employee may show up. While he was disposing of the bodies, Watts made an unanswered call to Chad McNeil. See, that's just their opinion. This is just their theory, what they think. Personally, I think it's way too risky for Chris to just, I'm going to text, I'm going to call, I'm going to do all this stuff while I got to dispose of bodies. Like, anyone could have shown up out there. So I personally don't think that the bodies were being disposed of at that moment. I think that, honestly, I think that it's possible that they were still alive. We don't have a time of death for anyone. Keep that in mind. Do not have a time of death. No cadaver dog picked up death in the truck. So that to me has always stood out. So Roberts told Watts, I guess I'm headed out that way to start up 1029 and Chad will be meeting out there. Watts replied, okay. Watts took a photograph of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck. The metadata confirms Watts was at survey coordinates. The image is apparently only in thumbnail form, and enlarging it blurs out the writing on the laptop screen. Watts sent the staged message to Shanann's phone. So that is at 7:40 in the morning. And he says, if you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at. So that I do believe was staged. I do believe 100% Chris knew where the kids were at that point, where Shanann was at that point. And that was absolutely a staged attempt. Watts made 2.5-minute phone call to Troy McCoy. Roberts told Watts, I'm here at the 1029 now. You mind coming out here just in case something gets sideways? Watts told Roberts, yeah, I'm at 319, 1 sec. Watts then takes his photo. So not only is he doing, phone calls, texting on his work laptop, he's taking photos too. And this is the oil leak, which I think is very key in this whole story. I've explained numerous times why. And that's at 7:43. Watts called. So when at this point is he disposing of the bodies? In between calls and texts? He's only been out there for an hour, 15 minutes-ish. Watts called Luke Eppel, co-worker, and held a 1 minute and 45-second conversation. Now, also remember, none of the co-workers said that he appeared out of breath, that he appeared sweaty, that he was nervous. Roberts asked Watts, 10-4, how's it look? Watts replied, fresh, LOL. McNeil called Watts and held a 2-minute conversation. Roberts asked, is it a lot? Watts responded by sending an image he took minutes earlier. So they're referring to this oil leak, which is key in everything, in my opinion. Let me check with you guys. Hello, Nadine, everyone else who joined. Wonder what that guy's feeling, who he talked to. He spoke to a guy who was just involved in killing his family and spoke totally normally, right? And that's the thing, is all the coworkers are said, like, he was talking, completely fine. He didn't seem nervous, out of breath, sweaty. Yeah. Why would he risk the girls being heard while he was making phone calls Monday morning? Sprinkled Donut says. That's a good question. Were the girls with him at that moment? Were the people that he's talking to kind of in the loop of what's going on? And what I mean by that is this oil leak, aka an explosion that's going to take place. Again, I know some people are like, no explosion plan. But that's where I'm at, guys. I'm sorry. Is there an interview with the staff at the Lazy Dog? No, we have read through the Lazy Dog's supplemental report, and the manager pretty much was not helpful and said, like, oh, I don't have the receipt or the credit card information or the cameras. They just record in real time, so we don't have anything to show you or give you. Very unhelpful. When did the dog go in his truck? In the discovery files, you can search the dog searches, and they go to the truck. They don't open it, but dogs don't need, they can smell a dead body through like 10 feet of ice. So in order for them to go in the truck, they would have needed a warrant from Anadarko. At this point, they were just trying to find missing people. So they didn't, do the warrant at that stage. They just brought the cadaver dog to the truck and nothing was alerted. So no cadaver dog alerts in the house, in the garage, or in the truck. Yeah, what's wild is what if he would have said, what if he would have said, and he, I mean, like some of the other coworkers, I'll be there in 5 minutes, about to pull up now with a body and 2 kids in the back. How did he know they wouldn't show up? Explain. Right. Which is why I'm thinking that Shanann wasn't in the truck. She was taken somewhere else. And the kids, I don't know. I think there's definitely other people involved. And that's what even Shanann's father said. Now, Shanann's father lived with them for a couple years, and he worked at Lowe's delivering appliances. And in his police interview, he says, why would, some things just don't make sense. Like, why would you dispose of them at your work site? I mean, there's a million other places to dispose of them. I worked for Lowe's and I drove around, and there's mountains and there's valleys. Like, they never would have been found. Why would he bring them to the work site? And I'm the same way. I think so too, Jacqueline. I really do. I think that as soon as Nicole Atkinson alerts authorities, things kind of went sideways and the explosion never happened. And they had to be disposed of there because that's where the police knew Chris was. That is where Anadarko's property is. So the exclusion plan is supposed to send a message that fracking and the oil companies are bad. So they had to dispose of the bodies on those lands because that kind of ties in everything. That lays out their whole plan. Not that the plan took place, what they wanted, but they had to make a point to have Anadarko tied into these murders somehow, even if the plan didn't take place. The explosion plan, I think. Again, we go through the explosion plan and other ones. I can't get into it. I try to cover this case without talking about it because it's just, people are either on board with it or they're not. But to me, it just always goes back to that. Anyways, back to this. Want me to bring some Gator? Roberts asked. I'm assuming Gatorade. Or I don't know. We can try and pressure test the line too if you want. Watts replied, I got it handled. Thanks, though. Watts made a staged 23-second call to Shanann's phone. Watts searched the internet for Primrose School at Erie at Vista Ridge. Seconds later, he called the school and held a 1-minute conversation. During this call, Watts told the staff that his daughters would not be attending school there any longer. Shanann, see, that is... Some people are like, see, he knew that he was going to kill them, or see, they were already dead. For me, it can go either way. I think that he was going to take them out of school because they were going to go, that school was $500 a week. I don't know. I just have different opinions there. Shanann's phone had an appointment reminder scheduled for this time, her medical appointment. And that's at 9:05 in the morning. So I want to switch up the screens too, because I want to pull up stuff from Nicole Atkinson. So give me a second. So at 9:05 in the morning, seconds later, Watts called Ann Meadows, a realtor, and held a 3-minute and 40-second conversation. 10:06. Centra Health Physician Group Women's Health in Erie called Shanann's phone and left a message. I confirmed the calling number listed to this clinic. 10:10. During a respite following the murders of his family and disposing of their bodies at a desolate well site. See, this is their opinion, their theory. Watts searched Google for lyrics to Battery by Metallica. Come to find out, Nicole Kessinger texted him and said, what is this song about? And then it gives lyrics, lashing out the action, returning the reaction, weak are ripped and torn away, hypnotizing power, crushing all that cower. Battery is here to stay. Smashing through the boundaries. Lunacy has found me. Cannot stop the battery. Pounding out aggression. Turns into obsession. Cannot kill the battery. Cannot kill the family. Battery is found in me. Crushing all deceivers. Mashing non-believers. Never-ending potency. Hungry violence seeker. Feeling off the weaker, breeding and insanity, smashing through the boundaries. Lunacy has found me. Cannot stop the battery. Pounding out aggression, turns into obsession. Cannot kill the battery. Cannot kill the family. Battery has found me. Battery. Circle of destructions. Hammer comes crushing. Powerhouse of energy, whipping up a fury. Dominating flurry. We create the battery. Okay, and then it goes through again, the chorus, blah, blah, blah. Watts had proven a keen interest in song lyric. He is no doubt familiar with the song lyric. He attended the Metallica concert held in Denver on June 7, 2017. I recognize the photographs he took at the concert and stored in his phone on that date. I was there. So Shanann bought him the tickets to that actually as a birthday present. So what's my theory with this? Why would Nicole Kessinger text him and say, what's this about? What's this song about? I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. And thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, so these text messages, Shanann is red. Obviously, she's not answering. Nicole Atkinson is blue. That's all we see. Now, we kind of left off around 10 something in the timeline we were just reading from. So we're going to kind of go back a little bit. At 8:43 in the morning, Nicole Atkinson texts Shanann, how are you? 8:55 a.m. So it's a little over 10 minutes. Just wanted to see if you were okay. I know you were hurting a lot last night. Hope you're okay. 9:21 a.m. Let me know how your appointment goes. 11:46 a.m. I'm very worried about you. I'm coming to your house. Now, obviously at this point, it's been, a couple hours. She knows Shanann usually is on her phone responding. She was in a delicate state because, over the weekend she'd seen Chris was out to dinner and charged up a tab that seemed like it was more than just him at dinner. So there was suspicions and talk about him out with somebody. So there was a lot of turmoil in Shanann's life that weekend at her MLM conference. I have been to your house. You want to, and this is at 12:47. I have been to your house. You want to open your door? Your alarm's set. Your shoes are sitting inside. Your car's home. I am very concerned about you right now. I need you to text me or call me and just tell me, okay, if you don't want to talk to nobody, you don't want to be around nobody, I get it. It's fine. But I need to know you're okay. Then at 2:15, she tries to reach out again. I have the cops at your house. Obviously, that's where the texts end. All right. So as far as why did Nicole Kessinger ask Chris what's this song about? This is just my opinion and my theory. I'm not saying this is the truth. Hello, Allegedly with Brittany J. Good to see you. Thank you so much for popping in, and everyone else who's popped in. Okay, it's actually called Gator Oil, and the packaging says oil absorber. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Learn something new every day, and that's why I love my chat. Allison, thank you so much. We love you too. Cheer up song. I personally think, okay, so Nicole NK sent him a text asking, what is this song about? And then that's when he looks up the lyrics. So I think Yes, he was 100% tweaking, and Kay was the fuel to his fire. Off the rails for sure. I think that she knew that Chris was obsessed with Metallica, which he was. She knew that from stalking him, from seeing, the concert that they went to together for his birthday, where this picture comes from. And I think that this is going to be so hard to explain, but she thought that if she asked him this question that morning, because in my mind, she knew that Shanann was going to get killed. I know that's my opinion. I'm not saying it's the truth. It's just my opinion. I think she was in on the conspiracy. I think that her sending him that song and asking what it was about was her way of kind of putting in his head that this was meant to be. This was his destiny. She didn't stumble on that song that day and thought, like, this is weird. It's talking about batteries and kill the family. That's weird. She had it preset that she was going to send him that morning, and it was going to reiterate in his mind that he was on the right path, doing the right thing, disposing of Shanann. So I think that honestly, it was a way for her to kind of manipulate and motivate him more so that he knew, like, wow, I love Metallica. They're my favorite band. Like, this is crazy. Like, this must be what I'm supposed to be doing. And this, I'm going to follow through. And this is another indication and sign that I need to be doing this. It's my favorite band. They're talking about things that are relevant to what's going on right now. That's just what I think, that it was just used as a manipulative tactic by the mistress. Again, other people think that, like I seen in chat, it was a sign that it was done and over with. I think that was a sign it was done, maybe, perhaps. Yeah. That's the thing, is everyone has, hi Zawoki, good to see you. Everyone has their different opinions and theories. And that's what's so crazy with this case, is like, we just don't have the truth. So I can't say your guys' theory about this song is wrong. I can't say that my theory about it is, the truth, and everyone else's is wrong. I just personally think that she knew how much he loved that band, how much he would kind of resonate with these lyrics at that moment. And she waited for this morning to kind of ask, like, what's this about? And then he reads the lyrics and he's like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I'm supposed to be doing this. This is, I am on the right path. Personally. Yeah, that's just my theory. A lot of different theories about the lyrics and all that. All right, moving on from Metallica, which I honestly like Metallica. In this case, kind of ruined the band for me. But what can you do? So remember, we read through Atkinson and Shanann's text messages, and they go up to something where she says, I have the cops at your house. So now we're going to go back to the discovery timeline before the cops are shown up yet. And this is at 10:28 in the morning. Sandy Rusek, Shanann's mother, asked Watts, is Shanann okay? Watts made an unanswered call to Rusek. She called him back and held a 1-minute conversation. So my assumption is people are starting to kind of, remember, Nicole Atkinson used to work with Shanann's mother when they all lived in Colorado at the beauty salon. So Nicole Atkinson was actually friends with Sandy before she was friends with Shanann. So everyone thinks like, oh, Nicole Atkinson and Shanann were best friends. Well, they were friends, but she was mostly closer to Sandy at first. So I'm assuming that she reached out to Sandy and said, been trying to get a hold of Shanann. She was very upset last night. I can't get a hold of her. Or maybe even Sandy was thinking like, I thought the girls would be posted on Facebook by now. They were supposed to go to their school. Usually Shanann would post something like that. Like, let me ask Watts, is Shanann okay? So we don't know what that 1 minute conversation was spoken about between those two, but that was at 10:28 in the morning. Around 10:33 to 10:41, Watts searched the internet for hotels in Aspen. So that's just weird too, because not only is he supposed to be like, disposing of bodies and hiding things, and he's changing his outfit and boots and all that, but he finds time to search the internet for hotels, which was something that him and Shanann were going to go do that following weekend. Shanann wanted them to kind of get back in touch with their, romantic side of their relationship and, go away for the weekend. I believe they were even going to have, forget who was going to watch the girls, but there was talk about, them lining up a babysitter as well. So the fact that it's already later in the day, Shanann has already been bombarded and taken out in another car, in my opinion, at this point, and is somewhere either dead or alive, sedated. I don't know her state. Nobody can know that because we don't have a time of death for anybody. So she very well may be dead at this moment. She very well may be sedated. She could be alive at this moment. We don't know. Okay, Thayer's, we're going to watch the girls. I thought it was somebody, one of Chris's friends. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. So without a time of death, no one can tell me that people are buried or in the oil tank at this point. They could be, according to the district attorney's theory, they are. Unfortunately, his theory has fallen through numerous times, so I just can't really rely on that. In my opinion, I don't know exactly what's being done at this point. Proof of what, Seth? I'm sorry. I missed what you were asking about. So why is he looking at, the Aspen hotels? Very strange. 10:42, Watts called Westin Snowmass Resort. So now I'm wondering, was he just going to go away with NK that weekend? How is that going to happen when it's going to come out that like his family is dead? Like if this explosion plan took place, it's just very weird. Is he canceling the reservations? Because it says held a 2-minute conversation. Sandy called Watts briefly, 10:44. Watts searched the internet for Groupon to include the company's contact information. 10:51, Watts called Sandy and held a 1-minute and 12-second conversation. 12:16 in the afternoon, Josh Rosenberg asked Watts, "Hey, bro, Cassie asked me if I've heard from Shanann today. I guess her and Nikki can't get a hold of her. Have you heard from her today?" So Josh is Cassie's husband. I don't know if they're still married anymore, but that was her husband. Sorry, this is just being weird when I flip the page. You guys see that? Ugh. Okay, 10:16. Okay, hold on. I'm looking to see the response. Hey, Valerie. Party can start. Valerie's here. Hate to circle back to when she got home, but I feel he was definitely waiting for her. And when she was distracted changing, he strangled her. He was probably psyching himself up on the phone. And I think that if something happened like that, I think that maybe even NK or somebody was helping him hold her down because she has no defensive wounds. People have often wondered, like, why doesn't she have any defensive wounds? Why didn't she fight back? Either she was sedated, like with like a chloroform, like chemical substance. Because remember, we found chemical substances in her chest cavity blood. So not in the toxicology report, because a lot of people have said like, no, there was nothing in the toxicology. You have to go to the part of the autopsy that describes her chest and lung area. And in there, we've pulled out numerous times, multiple chemicals, and butanol and toluene, if that's how you pronounce it, paint, some sort of paint thinner stuff. We've looked into it in the past, but that all is found in her chest cavity bloodstream. So was she, held down and then sedated? I don't know. But you're fine circling back. It's a lot of to process. Seems the vacation was meant for NK and Chris. Yeah. It's almost like Shanann set it up for them, and then Chris was like, well, let me just fill in with NK. Disgusting. Yeah, Shanann would have fought back for sure if she were not sedated. I agree. I feel she was sedated and couldn't fight back. Yeah. And yeah, there should at least be a scratch. Another thing too is a lot of people are like, well, she was sleeping. That's if you believe Chris. Like, I'm not going to believe just because he said that she was sleeping. You know what I mean? They also say things like the sheets, he pinned the sheets down on her so she couldn't move. I'm sorry, but like, you could still fight back if somebody has you pinned down with sheets. And not only that, like, there would at least be bruises from you kind of resisting from the sheets. There were no bruises on her. The oxy was never proven to have been given to her. That's just a theory. And there was none in the toxicology. Long tissue, the oxy theory came out in the Sherilyn Cato book and the letters to Christopher, and I don't believe half of that stuff in there. He's changed his story. The only thing that we have related to oxy in this case is Chris searched oxy 80 milligrams. So that was found on his Google search. Long tissue is like sponge and holds material that hasn't been metabolized. Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah, maybe that's why she was sedated. Yeah, she was either sedated or taken by surprise for her not. Yeah, and remember, there were gunshots heard, and people have said like, oh, nobody died. Okay, enjoy your dinner, Seth. Nobody died from a gunshot. Those gunshots weren't related. We did a whole live stream on it. You guys would have to go back and watch that. Not saying that they were killed by gunshot, but if somebody has a gun to you and they're saying, come with me, you're going to comply. You're not going to fight back. Yes, I don't believe that book. She wrote it only for money. That's my opinion as well. And actually, she was very manipulative in that book process. And she told the Watts family, yeah, that is a high dose for sure. She told the Watts family, oh, I believe, in speaking with Chris, I believe there's more to this story. I think the mistress knows more. I'm going to write this book. It's going to be Christian based. And I'm going to give the proceeds to you guys, and it can help you guys fight for Chris. And then she never gave them the money. And then that book is no longer sold anymore because she plagiarized a lot of it. So it's very hard to talk about this case without somebody sourcing something that came out in that book. Like, no, Chris said that he stomped them in with his boot. He said that in that book when he was arrested and when he was in prison. He never talked about stomping the kids in. In fact, he said that it was easy for them to go into the tanks. So it's just, his story has changed numerous times. And I just cannot source that book at all for this case. What about the burns on Bella's face? I don't know anything about the burns on her face. What do you mean? All right, back to the timeline. 12:16, Watts took 2 photographs of sunflowers in an open prairie. Why, right? Is this another sign? Is this a signal? Why exactly is he taking photos? And if we're going by the district attorney's theory, he has disposed of and killed his entire family, but he's stopping to take photos? You know, it doesn't make sense either way, whether you believe the district attorney's timeline in theory or whether you don't. Like, where does this come in, right? 12:17, Watt's phone received an alert from his Vivint panel. Now remember, this Vivint panel, we never see the whole Vivint panel. In fact, in the discovery files, you'll see during this process, it's not the burial sites though, because there's none, like when you check the survey drone footage, there isn't sunflowers near her grave. So I don't know where, like, why exactly this, and the coordinates aren't survey 319. It says 1029 possibly. So I don't get it. Yeah, it makes no sense at all. It doesn't make any sense. Shoot, what was I saying? Oh, the Vivint panel. So we don't see the Vivint panel in its full panel information. They sealed that information and they've never released it. So Vivint is their home security system that could tell us movements that were being done in the home before and after Chris left, that could clear the theories and conspiracies of other people being involved. Unfortunately, we are unable to discount the idea that other people were in the house because they have sealed the Vivint records, you know? It's unfortunate. And why give us all this information and then seal the Vivint, which is a security, real technological evidence? 12:18, in response, Watts called Nicole Atkinson and held a 1-minute conversation. So this is after, obviously, Nicole Atkinson has been trying to reach out to Shanann, showed up at the house. Watts told Josh, which is Cassie's husband, I just talked to Nikki. Shanann went to a friend's house with the kids today. I haven't heard from her since. I will keep you updated, though, Josh replied. The girls were worried. Watts responded, I know. I just saw Nikki on the doorbell camera. Like, how easily he just lies to people. It's just disgusting. No, there was nothing, no burns on her face. No, just the frenulum that was torn, which was just injuries to her mouth. But hello, Unravel. It's good to see you. So here we are watching in real time Chris just lie to people. You know, he knows exactly where Shanann is, whether she's buried in that grave, you believe that, or whether, you know, she's being held, kept aside until this explosion is going to take place and put somewhere until then. 12:27. Watts called Nicole Atkinson and held a 2.5-minute conversation. 12:27 also. Ann Meadows told Watts, hi, I'm working on your market analysis. I would like to bring my listing coordinator with me to bring when I bring it. Did you finish the basement? Any other upgrades? So Chris and Shanann talked about selling their house. Chris also talked to nicholkessinger about wanting to move into an apartment with him and his girls. And so, you know, that this is where this plan for selling the house comes in. It was spoken about with his wife, Shanann, and he had talked to nicholkessinger and said, like, yeah, I'm going to need to, like, save money, which is another reason why I think maybe that's why he canceled the girls going to the daycare. I know some people think, like, no, he canceled because he killed them and they were dead. That's your opinion. That's the district attorney's opinion in theory. I truly don't think the girls were in Chris's plans. I think he called the school to withdraw them to save money, just like he's kind of setting up here to sell the house with the realtor. These messages were also found in Shanann's phone, likely sent as a group text to Ann. So Shanann was absolutely on board with selling the house. This wasn't anything that Chris was doing out from under her, like, oh, look how shady he is. It was kind of spoken about and agreed upon. They needed to save money, and that's just what it was. 12:31. Addie is Shanann's friend as well. Addie asked Watts if Shanann was okay. Everyone is worried. It's not like her not to respond, and we haven't heard back from her all day. 12:41. Watts called Nicole Atkinson and held a 40-second conversation. Why is this doing that? You guys see that? 12:43. Cassie told Watts, Shanann is in a very bad way emotionally, and I'm worried about her. I know you are having issues, but I don't want to know to what extent. But I do know I have never seen her so broken to an extent. I am worried. Watts replied, she went to a friend's house with the kids. She won't tell me, though, where. When I get home, I will update you. Minutes later, Cassie told Watts, sweetie, nobody knows about you and her other than Nikki and I. So where would she go if not with Nikki and not to Arizona where I'm at? Her car and her shoes, everything is at the house. What the heck is going on with you guys? That she would totally shut out everything. It's not like her. Watts responded, I told Nikki about it so she wouldn't freak out anymore at the house. I think Christina knows as well. We talked last night and I told her I wanted to sell the house, get something smaller. Separation would be best right now if we work through the issues. I really don't want you to think I'm a bad person, Cassie. Cassie replied, right now I don't care about you or your relationship or what type of person you are or not. Or what I think of you. I'm not trying to be rude when I say that. In the midst of all this that was occurring, Watts tended to his real estate concerns, telling Ann Meadows, basement is still unfinished, no other upgrades. So he's, calm and carrying on with his business and to-do list for the day, while her friends are blowing him up like, what the heck is going on? If she's not with us, where the heck is she? Don't tell us she's with a friend because we're the only ones that she kind of talks to. Yeah, Shanann would have been leaning hard on her circle. We know her too well. Right. So this kind of goes back to like, what was he thinking? He's such an idiot. Like, why would he think that he could carry out this plan this way? It's obviously fallen apart for him, right? Well, this also goes back to another aspect that we've dug into with this case. Specifically, when I studied this case with CDT, and we realized, like, oh my God, he was locked out of her phone. So she, over the weekend, had just changed her passcode to her phone. So he could no longer get into her phone to pretend to be her. So the flight was delayed, which was the first thing that kind of started to fall apart for their plan. Because I think there's other people involved, my opinion, of course. So they start panicking because the flight's delayed. She's not getting home at the time they thought. They might have been, rushed to kind of bombard her as soon as she got home, hence why her phone information is, dormant as soon as she gets through the door. Also why she's wearing her underwear and bra that's like the daytime type underwear and bra. She never made it to bed, in my opinion. She never picks up her phone when she's home laying in bed to text her girlfriends or to search the internet. Something happened right away. Then the other thing that takes place, as soon as they get a hold, Chris and whoever else, they get a hold of her phone, they realize, we're locked out of this. I thought you had the passcode to your wife's phone. And Chris is like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know her passcode. What do you mean? It was this last week. Well, over the weekend, she changed it. She changed it to the baby's birth date. So the due date for Nico. So that was another hiccup in the plan. So that is why she's, not texting her friends back, because what would have been done was they were going to pretend to be Shanann. And when her friends were texting her, like, hey, just checking in on you, like they would have had Shanann's phone and said, I'm fine. Thanks for checking in on me. Going to the doctor. I'll let you know about it when I get back. Just ways to make it seem like I'm still alive. Don't worry. But they were locked out. They were completely locked out. And that's why things are kind of falling apart at this point. So a lot of people are like, he's so stupid. How did he not know that her friends were going to reach out to her? Oh, yeah, he's absolutely stupid. But I think that her changing her passcode has a lot to do with why this plan didn't go the way that the perpetrators wanted it and Chris wanted it to go. Okay, so Cassie chastised Watts, explaining her only concern was for his damn wife and her well-being. Cassie advised, Nikki is calling the police. Cassie told Watts she is broken emotionally. Her blood sugar dropped to her not eating, and it could cause her to pass out. So unless you want the police to bust your damn door down, you get home and check on your family. Realtor Ann Meadows replied to Watts during this exchange, suggesting a house at 6508 Saratoga may be viable. 13:05 military hours. Watts told Cassie, I'm going home, Cassie. On my way. Don't call the police. I will be there in 45 minutes. Cassie thanked him and explained her fears. Nikki and I know what state she was in all weekend, and we just want to see she isn't in the house because this is seriously a concern. Watts called Cassie and held a 1-minute conversation. Troy McCoy, coworker, asked Watts if everything was okay. If you need anything, let me know. Scrolling, still on the morning. So he hasn't even made it home yet. So we've gone through the body cam footage of, that day in the past. Today, we're just strictly doing this timeline. And then, of course, we read through Nicole Atkinson's text, etc. A lot of different layers surrounded by the same hours and all that for this case. Ann Meadows, a realtor, asked if Watts preferred a 3-car garage. Watts replied, 3-car garage. I will drive by 6508 address when I get home. 13:31 hours. Nicole Atkinson called Watts twice, briefly. Christina Meacham asked Watts, what is going on? Where are you? We are so worried. What the frick? Watts sent another staged message to Shanann's phone. Where are you? Come on now. Messages from Atkinson were finally received by Shanann's phone. By all accounts, these would have been sent by Nicole Atkinson earlier in the morning before she called police. They included, just wanted to see if you were okay. I know you were hurting a lot last night. Hope you're okay. Let me know how your appointment goes. I have been to your house. You won't open the door. Your alarm is set and your shoes are sitting inside. Your car is home. I'm very concerned about you right now. I need you to text me or call me and just tell me, okay, if you don't want to talk to nobody, you don't want to be around nobody, I get it. It's fine. I just need to know you're okay. A group text was created between Cassie, Christina, Nicole Atkinson, Addie, and Shanann's phone. The group sent assorted messages of growing concern for Shanann. Watts told Christina, the police are here now. Call you when I know. Addie asked Watts, what is happening? I'm so worried. Watts called Addie and held a 6-minute conversation. Addie told the group, the police need to look at Chris's cell and computer. Shanann's phone soon exploded with anxious messages of concern from friends and family across the nation. As the afternoon moved into the evening, the messages became gut-wrenching pleas to hear from Shanann, sending her prayers and hope and their love. When Kelly Burke asked what the police were saying, Watts said, "They will file missing persons report in the morning if we don't hear from her." Oh yeah, he's can't even act like he's concerned. Burke asked Watts if Shanann was awake when he left for work. Watts lied and said, "I talked to her earlier this morning between 4 and 5 a.m. I think she went back to sleep afterwards. She was still here when I left, kids still sleeping." So first off, we know the kids left with him. We see the shadow. At least I believe the kids left in the truck alive, personally. So we know that that part of this text message is a lie. So can we also conclude the rest of this text message to Burke is a lie, which is him saying, "I talked to her earlier this morning between 4 and 5 a.m. That to me is a lie. "I think she went back to sleep afterwards." That to me is a lie. I mean, unless he's including sedation as sleep after. "She was still there when I left, kids still sleeping." She left out the back in another car, in my opinion. So she wasn't still there. Kids still sleeping. No, they left with you, Chris. So that's where I'm at with that whole text to Burke. I don't know where you guys are, if you believe any of that. Share your thoughts. Let me know. Again, it's my theory. I'm just saying, like, I don't believe any of that. I don't think that they spoke at 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't think she went back to sleep. I don't think she was there when he left. And I don't believe the kids were still sleeping. So I think this entire text to Burke is a complete lie. So again, yeah, and Nicole Kessinger never mentions those Metallica lyrics. You're right. Tony doesn't believe it. All right, hold on, guys. For those who don't know, I'm pregnant, so I need to take a bathroom break. So give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry. Normally, I never do this, but I just can't. So again, while I go to the ladies' room real quick, just read this to Burke and let me know what part of that you believe. Give me 1 second, guys. And I'm back. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do so. And thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. Still, I don't like walking away when I'm live streaming. I like to just stay here, get through it. But gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. 17:01 hours. Kessinger. See, this is interesting. Nicole Kessinger made 2 unanswered calls to Watts. Deleted. Why is she deleting calls? At this point, Shanann is only missing. She hasn't been found dead. The girls haven't been found dead. Nobody knows that what has happened to them, if they're disposed of at this point or not. Nobody knows all that. If Kessinger is just a innocent bystander in all this, who's confused and just, innocent, why is she deleting just calls to him on day 1 of them missing? So we're strictly talking about the morning of, the timeline of the morning of, and obviously it goes throughout the day. We've seen Chris has said to a friend they're going to file a missing person report in the morning if we don't hear from her. So at this point, like she has said in all her interviews, like, I just thought that this woman, and that's what she refers to her as, this woman needed a break. And she just went to a friend's house and she just needed to cool off and take a minute. Everyone's impressed with how quick I was. The bathroom's right outside the door. But thank you. I have many talents. But yeah, why is she deleting these calls? Why not just leave these calls on your phone? You know, so when they're doing the phone extraction of Nicole's phone, they're seeing like, okay, so she called him the day that they were missing, first day, day one, and yet she deleted the calls. That's weird. I'm sorry, but that is weird. Watts called Chase Bank and held a 2-minute conversation. See, I wish we had like these phone calls. You know that was recorded. He called a separate number for Chase moments, and I'm sure he's just pretending to like check the bank accounts. Like, oh, just wondering if anything was withdrawn, because the cops asked him that. Although, you know, what's funny is he told the cops that they banked with AmeriQ. Remember? He never told them anything about Chase. So that's weird. That's something I just noticed. Interesting. Is that his own little separate account that Nicole set up for him? Don't know. Watts made an unanswered call to Kessinger. So not only is Kessinger making unanswered calls to Chris that day and deleting them, but it says right here, Watts made an unanswered call to Kessinger. Deleted. Now remember, he also comes out and he says, she told me to delete everything. Unaware of the events, this poor realtor, Ann Meadows asked if Watts drove by 6508 Saratoga address. Completely aware of the events, still replied, just did. Yep, that's the exact model. What the heck? He's just like carrying on this charade. No matter who he's talking to, Chris has a different mask to wear. He's a chameleon. He's very much, that's how he is. Yep, that's the exact model. Following suggestions by many, Watts searched Google for hospitals near his home. In less than 4 minutes, Watts called Good Samaritan Medical Center, St. Anthony North Health Campus, Longmont United Hospital, and UC Health in Broomfield. The average duration of these calls was 40 seconds. The longest was 69 seconds. Out of curiosity, I called St. Anthony's without identifying myself and asked if Rollo Tomasi was a patient. It took 2 minutes to get an answer. Oh, so interesting. So this detective who's typed this up called himself, made up a name just to see how long it would take for them to give them an answer, like to kind of confirm, like, was Chris calling, you know, with real concern? Was he really waiting to see if Shanann Watts was a patient? I suspect Watts merely called each hospital to create a trail of concocted concern and never actually spoke with anyone. I totally believe that as well. He never spoke with anyone when he called those hospitals. He knew exactly where she was at that point. Or, you know, if she's not in that shallow grave, he knew that she wasn't at a hospital. Burke asked if Watts had any luck with the hospitals, and Watts said no luck at all. Here we go with the realtor. Ann Meadows asked Watts if Shanann was okay, noting she has not taken part in their group text exchange about selling the house. Watts replied, she hasn't been around all day. It's very odd. Oh my God. See, and here's the thing is he needs that house sold. Like he wants to sell that house. So he needs Ann to kind of still be on board with speaking with him. Ridiculous. Watts told Samantha Parsley, aka Sam, I'm praying so hard. I'm sick to my stomach. Cops searched the house up and down and drilled me pretty hard. I have no idea where they could be. Sam asked why the police were drilling him. An hour later, Watts explained, they're just being thorough. They got to do all the digging they can. I saw them this morning. Yet people are helping me search. You don't need to get on the plane. We have a lot of support here. Watts received a calendar notice titled Dinner with Shanann. Wow. Shanann had a similar entry, Dinner with Chris, but scheduled for an hour later. Sad. I don't think I ever remember reading that. The hour difference indicates she created the entry while in Arizona, using that state's time zone. In my experience, iPhones fail to make the transition when traveling to another time zone after an event is entered in the device's calendar. A line at the Frederick Police Department called Watts and held a 6-minute conversation. Here we go again. This is the last entry for August 13th. So we were only going to cover the day of and the morning of specifically in the timeline. So everything that happens after this last entry, we're not going to cover tonight. We'll cover it another night. Kessinger called Watts and held a 51-minute conversation. Deleted. Why? Why is she deleting phone calls to him when Shanann and the girls are simply missing? Ridiculous. It's just, people don't delete things when they're innocent. I stand by that. I don't know how you guys feel. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that this is innocent? Oh, people just delete. No big deal. Candy says guilty knowledge. Right. That's what it's making me feel like. Why are you trying to erase yourself from this whole situation digitally? Because she's hiding a lot of, I don't know. I think so too, Jay. It's a red flag. It's a sign of guilt. And that's the thing is, we just don't know what level of what she knew, right? If she's just calling, she's like, she told him like the cops, I wasn't at all concerned. I myself, I turn my phone off sometimes and I leave. I just like to check out. Like she says stuff like that. Like, no, but you're not a mother and you're not running an online business where you're required to have your phone near you. Like, just doesn't make sense. You trying to rationalize that. Yeah, she's deleting calls to cover her tracks. And don't forget, I'm seeing all your guys' comments. Yeah, it seems like everyone seems this is a little odd. Don't forget, day one, she's telling Chris when he says he finds her, I found Shanann's wedding ring by the bedside. And Kay tells Chris, pawn it, man. Pawn it? Well, what if she comes back? Why would he pawn a wedding ring when you told FBI that you just assumed she'd come back? So she's going to come back and it's going to be gone? Such a strange thing to suggest to Chris to do. Yeah, no reason to delete anything if you have nothing to hide. She already threw him under the bus and considering her options to get out of it without being charged, right? And that's the thing that we talked about in our last live stream, this bombshell information that the district attorney said she gave them. It's either tied to people related to this explosion, I think, and they took the information from her, and since the explosion didn't take place, nobody got in trouble, but they have the information because that's called eco-terrorism. That's an act of terrorism, but it never took place. Or she told them, which is a very common theory, she told the cops where the bodies were. And now we go back to, well, how did she know? Did she have firsthand knowledge? Or is it she told them that Chris told her? I mean, hearsay, she could lie. She could lie. And she could say, Chris told me that he put them here and here and here. When really NK knows from another source outside of Chris. Again, that's my theory. Either you believe Chris disposed of them all himself and told NK, and she turned in this bombshell information, or somebody else disposed of them. NK knew, but NK told law enforcement that Chris told her where he put them. So she looks like the hero. But again, it's hard to know. Yeah. And since they already wanted just Chris, they ignored her obvious involvement. Right. And if they get the location, well, the other thing too is like they knew where the location of the bodies were before Chris tells them or labels that picture in his interrogation. We're going to go through the interrogation videos and all that. Isn't it funny? Like we've been doing this series since November. Me too, Tony. That's where I'm at. But I don't fault anybody for having a different theory. If you have a different theory, that's fine. But where I'm at is somebody else disposed of them. But NK knew, but possibly told the cops and the district attorney, like, he told me they were here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Don't forget, when she goes in for her interview with her father, we'll have to play this too. I know it's hard to listen to her. Not tonight. God, no. I can't do shit. I can't do NK tonight. So one of the first things she says when she walks through the door of the interview with her father on camera is, did you guys find those little girls? Now, I thought that was just because they hadn't disclosed to the public that where they were at that point, and she just was acting like she was concerned. But now I'm starting to think, Florida Bass, now you're coming in. Now I'm starting to think she asked them that because she offered the information. And she's like, did you find them? Again, who knows? Yeah, that giggle. No. Yeah. And that's good, Tony. I'm glad that you learned something. Me too. I mean, I don't even remember some of the stuff that we're reading through. Like I'm reading and I'm like, oh, wow. I never knew that they both had dinner dates set in their phone for that Monday night in their like phone calendar. Like that's just eerie, creepy, depressing, very sad. All right. So, I like to keep things an hour and a half, less than 2 hours. Florida, I'm going to need you to watch this on playback so that you can give your opinions in the comment section, because we talked about how the timeline is just way too tight for him to do everything that morning, and that you have a very strong opinion about that as well. I wanted to play this. This is very old, Inside Edition, 5 years ago. But since we are covering the morning of, it would only be fitting to show Nicole Atkinson at the house. It's only a minute and 45 seconds. So to kind of conclude everything and bring everything together with everything we talked about tonight, we have to include the cop showing up at the Watts house before Chris gets there. Remember, he's at Survey and he's at 1029. 1029 is the other oil site. And, oh, thank you, Sherry. We love you too. And thank you, Roxanne. Roxanne bought me lunch for me and the baby. So thank you so much, Roxanne. I appreciate you and I love you. And I appreciate everybody here. So let's watch this right now, because this is a key element in everything. And, everyone has their opinion about Nicole Atkinson, but the truth in my mind, in my opinion, is she interrupted a plan. And what would have happened if Nicole Atkinson didn't interrupt?
Nicole?
Yes.
Okay.
In this just released video, we're seeing the
Nicole?
Yes.
In this just released video, we're seeing the unsung hero whose determination may have stopped Chris Watts from getting away with murdering his pregnant wife and 2 little daughters. Nicole Atkinson knew something was wrong when her best friend, Shanann Watts, didn't turn up for a doctor's appointment. She immediately called police.
I can't get a hold of her. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day right in the front door.
The police body cam video shows Chris Watts arriving home. Imagine his surprise at finding cops already at his house. He had just disposed of the bodies of his wife and children in an oil storage facility where he worked.
Nobody's heard from him, nobody's seen him.
But thanks to Nicole, he's had no time to get rid of personal items that his wife would have taken with her if she was staying with a friend, as Chris Watts was claiming.
Her phone's here? Yeah. Her phone's here.
She also discovers Shanann's purse.
That's her purse. It's her medication. She takes these, her medication's still in here.
Nicole is clearly worried. She knows something is wrong. Watts tries to avoid making eye contact with her. Because of Nicole, his story is already falling apart. And this is the moment Watts realizes he was caught on a neighbor's surveillance camera backing his pickup truck into his driveway. Out of view of the camera, he is loading the 3 bodies on the truck.
I personally don't think that that's why Chris was nervous there. No, a lot of people do. You know, so many people have zoomed in on Nate's footage. So many people have looked that I don't see him loading bodies. That was something that the media really started to push from day one. Now, why is he nervous here? I think that Nate's camera picked up that other figure walk out of the garage that a lot of people think is NK. Or I think that it picked up that red car that is somehow involved in all this. So that's my opinion. So it's been portrayed to the media that he was scared because he's caught loading the bodies. If he was caught right here loading the bodies, the cop and Nate would have said something. And they would have said, what's going on here, buddy? Like, okay, hands behind your back. You need to come with me. We need to talk about, this footage. But that's not what took place. They didn't see him loading the bodies here, in my opinion. And not only that, district attorney comes out and he says, oh, well, actually, the kid's left alive. So again, everyone has a different theory. In my opinion, Chris thought that they saw Nicole walk out of the garage. There's that image that's floated around where it looks like she's even holding one of the kids. Or he's nervous about the car that is seen leaving nearby, which possibly could be tied to that. Yes, Jim had a red car. A lot of people have said, no, the neighbor came out and said that was her leaving for the gym. Well, the neighbor did say she left for the gym around that time, but she had a tan car, not a red one. What is my Cash App? It's in, all my links are in the description box. So if you go to the description box of this stream, I have my links there. So give me a second. I don't link it like some people do. Okay, so here's our live stream. The description box, it'll say support the research and progress of this channel by subscribing, or you can donate to PayPal, Cash App, become a member. That link is there as well. And then the Venmo is this. It's my husband's name, but obviously we share everything. So thank you so much. So that's just my opinion. I know that the media has portrayed yes, he's caught here loading the bodies, but I just don't think that. And I think that a lot of the media's reports in this case were false and fed to them by the district attorney who lied and was caught in lies and didn't investigate the mistress, and also CBI, who was also shady, in my opinion.
His camera backing his pickup truck into his driveway. Out of view of the camera, he is loading the 3 bodies on the truck. Out of Watts' hearing, his neighbor tells police he is suspicious.
He looks like he's trying to cover his tracks.
Chris Watts looks as if his world is about to collapse.
I do agree. He absolutely looks like he's about to collapse there, and he's super nervous about something. I just don't think that it's like him being caught loading the bodies. I just, with the camera, there was cameras all around. He knew about Nate's footage. He knew about other people in the neighborhood had Ring cameras. So to me, it's like, yes, he's stupid, but I just don't think that he's somebody who would drag his wife's body outside early in the morning and do all that on camera out front. I personally believe she was taken out the back and he left with the kids alive in his truck. Remember, the cadaver dog never alerts to death at his truck, the garage, or in the house. All right. I think that's everything though for tonight, guys. Tomorrow night, I am doing Sebastian Rogers. We started out last week with reviewing a statement analysis expert who reviews Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot's first interview. So we're going to complete part 2 of that tomorrow night around the same time. So join me tomorrow night. Of course, we'll be digging into Watts again. So, you can find me here for that. There's other things I wanted to discuss too. Like there's active cases that I am much more interested in. Not that I'm not as interested in Watts. It's just, cases since 2018. There's a lot of other things to go through. So Gilgo Beach stuff right now is very interesting. Rex Heuermann. And obviously the Karen Reed trial is still going on. So I really want to talk about those cases as well with you guys. So please join me tomorrow night and any other night when I cover other cases besides Watts. We still do very extensive researches in other cases, and I could really use your guys' opinions and brain power and perspectives on more cases than just Watts. But again, I know you guys like this case, so we will continue our deep dives into this case as well. Tom N., good to see you. 13 months, a member. Thank you so much. Hope everyone is having a beautiful Friday. It's Thursday. You had me check the date real quick. I mean, unless you're somewhere where it's already Friday. But I'm having a good Thursday, and I hope to have a good Friday, and I hope to see you guys on Friday. And thank you, Tom, for being a member for over a year. I appreciate that so much. And everyone's saying, have a great weekend, Tom. All right. So, yeah, you'll see me moderating other channels. In the meantime, yeah, the Karen Reed case is a crazy case. It really is. District attorney in this case is a liar for sure. But yeah, thank you so much. Everyone who donated, everyone who gifted memberships, everyone who just liked the stream, showed up. I really appreciate you guys. I hear it's raining really hard right now. The window's open. I love a good summer rain. All right, good way to end the stream. I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Meet me here. So good night, guys.